Morning light filtered through frosted windows of the Willowbrook Care Center, casting delicate patterns on the pale linoleum floor. In room 214, Sophie Quinn stirred beneath layers of blankets, her small frame hidden beneath thick quilts stitched by volunteers. She lay in her wheelchair each day by the window, fragile bones keeping her earthbound, yet her spirit soared with dreams of childhood she longed for. Sophie's condition, osteogenesis imperfecta, made every muscle ache and every movement a careful negotiation with pain, yet she greeted the world each morning with bright eyes and a sunlit smile. The faded blue blanket draped across her lap was her constant companion, the only warmth she could truly call her own. She ran her fingertip along its frayed edge, remembering the day Nurse Haley tucked it around her, whispering, "Keep you cozy, my brave girl." Sophie's day began with a roster of therapy, lessons in her small room, and a chorus of other children's laughter echoing through the halls. She loved to watch them play in the courtyard, feeling both joy and a gentle ache in her heart. But she had learned to find beauty in small moments, the melody of birdsong at dawn, the scent of jasmine from a potted plant outside her window, the taste of warm apple porridge at breakfast. That morning, Ms. Langston, the center's director, pushed Sophie's wheelchair to the dining hall. "Good morning, Sophie," she said, brushing back Sophie's soft, dark curls. "How are we feeling today?" "Ready to learn something new," Sophie replied, voice soft but determined. A spark of hope shone in her pale green eyes, as bright as spring leaves. Over oatmeal and fresh fruit, Sophie listened to Nurse Haley's comforting chatter about Sophie's therapy later that day. Then, as plates were cleared, Sophie noticed a murmur among the aides stationed by the sliding doors. After lunch, Sophie returned to her room, where she usually settled for art therapy with Dr. Patel. But today, a faint sound drifted through. The open window, a soft, frightened whine. She frowned, lifting her head. The courtyard doors stood slightly ajar in the winter cold, breath visible in the gap. "Excuse me," Sophie called, voice tentative. Nurse Haley peeked through the doorway. "I hear something." Outside, the courtyard was a panorama of icy cobblestones and bare shrubs, crusted with frost. As Sophie watched, a small trembling shape appeared at the edge of the garden bed. It was a dog, gaunt ribs visible beneath matted, chocolate-brown fur, one hind leg trailing awkwardly behind. The dog's eyes, clouded with pain and desperation, met Sophie's gaze. Without thinking, Sophie's heart clenched. "Please be okay." She yearned to wrap the stray in warmth. She nudged her wheelchair forward. "Bring my blanket," she whispered to Nurse Haley. "But Sophie, it's icy," Nurse Haley began. I have to," Sophie said, voice quivering, with resolve. "Please." Moments later, Nurse Haley returned with Sophie's beloved blue blanket. Sophie draped it around her shoulders and leaned through the window, stretching the blanket toward the shivering dog. The dog approached hesitantly, nose twitching at the woolen fabric's warmth. Sophie offered a gentle hand, voice soothing. "It's okay, friend. I won't hurt you." The dog sniffed the blanket, then laid his chin on Sophie's lap, quivering. Sophie wrapped the blanket around him as much as her reach allowed. The courtyard, once hostile with winter's chill, felt suddenly warmer. The dog's whine softened into a thankful sigh. Sophie's small act of kindness did not go unnoticed. Ms. Langston and Nurse Haley arrived in the courtyard moments later, concern etched in their faces. "What have we here?" Ms. Langston asked. Softly crouching beside Sophie, Sophie patted the dog's head gently. He was cold, hurt. Nurse Haley produced a soft collar and leash. "We'll bring him inside, keep him warm." With gentle coaxing, they lifted the dog, Sophie cradling, the blanket around him into the therapy room. Sheets of plastic covered the floor, an oil heater hummed in the corner. Dr. Patel and Mr. Griggs, the canine behaviorist, rushed in. Sophie watched anxiously as Dr. Patel examined the dog's limp leg and patted his trembling flank. "He's malnourished, hypothermic, likely sprung a sprain," Dr. Patel diagnosed. "But otherwise, his spirit is strong." Mr. Griggs knelt before the dog, whispering in a calm, soothing tone. The dog's eyes hushed under his touch. "He's had training," Mr. Griggs observed. See how he responds to calm voices and gentle commands? He's service-trained, it seems. Sophie's heart soared. Could this stranger be as special as he is kind? The dog, now dry and warm, lay curled on Sophie's blanket, eyes half closed. Ms. Langston turned to Sophie. "What should we call him?" Sophie paused. She thought of the mythic figure who bore the weight of the heavens, steadfast and strong. "Atlas," she whispered. The staff smiled at the fitting homage to the dog's strength. Over the days that followed, Atlas recovered under the care center's watchful eyes. Sophie visited him each afternoon, gently stroking his fur soft as dusk and talking softly about her hopes. "You're my hero, Atlas," she whispered. In return, Atlas wagged his tail, resting his head in Sophie's lap, clear understanding. In his gentle brown eyes, Mr. Griggs confirmed his suspicions. Atlas had once been a service dog in training, likely retired or lost. His gentle demeanor and alert mind made him an ideal companion. Ms. Langston and Dr. Patel conferred, and a plan took shape. Atlas would be officially assigned to Sophie, their bond serving both their needs. Training began in earnest. Mr. Griggs taught Sophie basic commands: sit, stay, bring, paw, even as Sophie navigated her physical limitations. Nurse Haley helped Sophie practice, laughter and gentle encouragement filling the therapy hall. Atlas proved a quick study, responding to Sophie's soft tone and intuitive gestures. Each morning, Atlas led Sophie in simple stretches, retrieving a soft ball from behind the armchair, placing her water bottle within reach, standing beside her wheelchair during shuttle rides to the activity room. Sophie's muscles grew stronger. Atlas blossomed with purpose. Dr. Patel marveled at the partnership. "You're helping each other heal," she observed, tears in her eyes. Sophie's confidence soared. She ventured into the courtyard with Atlas by her side, the pair drawing smiles and curious glances from other children. She taught Atlas to carry her sketchbook and art supplies, her laughter ringing out when Atlas nudged open doors for her. Late, one winter evening, Sophie's lips curled around a straw as she sipped hot cocoa in her room. Ms. Langston had just turned off the lights in the hallway. A faint crackling sound drifted from the corridor, then the unmistakable smell of smoke. Atlas's ears pricked. He rose, letting out a low whine, and nudged Sophie's hand. Sophie's heart hammered. "Atlas?" she whispered as the smell intensified. Atlas hopped from the floor onto her lap, body tense. He pawed at the door. Sophie grasped the wheelchair's controller. "Come on, let's go." The hallway glowed orange through the smoke. Art supplies had caught fire in the art room. Atlas barked and circled Sophie, guiding her away from the blaze. He pressed his body against Sophie's back, steadying her as she reversed to her room. Then Atlas sprinted out, barking urgently. He led firefighters and staff to the art room's window, clawing at the frame until they pried it open and doused the flames. When the danger passed, Ms. Langston embraced Sophie tightly. "You saved each other," she whispered. Atlas sat obediently by Sophie's side, tail wagging, eyes bright with courage. News of Atlas's bravery spread through Willowbrook and beyond. The local newspaper ran a feature, "Care Center's Canine Hero." Children gathered around Sophie as she wheeled through the halls, Atlas at her side. Dr. Patel and Nurse Haley showered them with praise. One crisp morning, the town's mayor and the shelter board visited. A small ceremony in the courtyard, balloons and applause. Sophie, wearing a neat uniform with Atlas's name stitched on her badge, accepted a medal for Atlas and one for herself, inscribed, "For courage and compassion." As Sophie looked into Atlas's loyal eyes, she felt a warmth that transcended medals. "We did it together," she said, voice trembling. Atlas licked her cheek. Inspired by their journey, Sophie began to dream bigger. Between therapy sessions, she sketched designs for a foundation, Hope's Paws, to pair children with disabilities and retired or abandoned service dogs. She presented her idea to Ms. Langston and Dr. Patel, a place where children could find not only therapy, but friendship and purpose. Mr. Griggs offered to train more dogs. Nurse Haley volunteered for administrative duties. Ms. Langston pledged the care center's support. Sophie felt her heart swell like the first bloom of spring. They held a small fundraiser in the courtyard: hot chocolate, baked goods, an art sale featuring Sophie's drawings of Atlas and other animals. Neighbors and local businesses contributed, and soon Hope's Paws had seed funding. Sophie stood at a small podium beside Atlas, announcing their mission. "Every child deserves a friend. Every dog deserves a home," she declared, voice strong. Applause rippled through the crowd. Launching the foundation was not without hurdles. Grants needed writing, volunteers trained. Some dogs proved too unruly, some children too wary. Sophie, Atlas, and the team weathered setbacks with resilience. Late nights were spent drafting materials, early mornings caring for new arrivals. Sophie's bones ached with fatigue, but Atlas sensed her struggle and adapted. He retrieved her medication, fetched blankets, and offered silent encouragement with a nuzzle when Sophie grew discouraged. Ms. Langston marveled at the pair's synergy. "They carry each other," she whispered to Nurse Haley. Slowly, clients arrived, a boy who found solace in Atlas's patient presence, a shy girl whose laughter returned when Atlas balanced her crutches, an elderly veteran dog no longer needed at a retirement home, gaining renewed purpose by helping a new child. Within a year, Hope's Paws blossomed. The care center courtyard became a hub of activity dogs and children, forging bonds in sunlight and laughter. Local schools partnered with the foundation, sending students to volunteer. Therapists integrated animal-assisted sessions into treatments. Sophie, now a young teenager, presented at conferences, her wheelchair and Atlas at her side. "We teach each other strength," she told medical professionals. "When I lost hope, Atlas found me. Now, we share that hope with others." Her words resonated far beyond Willowbrook. Donations flowed in. Awards arrived. Sophie and Atlas traveled to speak at national gatherings, inspiring communities to adopt similar programs. Seasons turned. Sophie and Atlas grew older together. Spring's first flowers found Sophie sketching under blooming cherry trees, Atlas dozing at her feet. Summer's sun saw them leading group therapy sessions under shady pavilions, Atlas demonstrating how to fetch medication or open doors. Autumn. Leaves became confetti at their annual Hope's Paws festival games, art booths, rescue dog parades. Sophie presided over the event with Atlas by her side. Her once faded blanket now a trophy in her office museum, replaced by warmer throws for new rescues. Winter's chill brought memories of their first encounter. But this time, Sophie and Atlas braved the cold side by side, offering blankets to new rescues waiting for adoption. As Sophie approached adulthood, she looked back on her journey with quiet pride. Atlas's muzzle had turned flecked with gray, his steps slower, but his eyes remained bright. Together they had saved lives, children's dreams rekindled, dogs given second chances, a community knitted together by compassion. On the foundation's 5th anniversary, Sophie unveiled a mural at the care center's entrance, a painting of a girl in a wheelchair reaching out to a dog beneath a starry sky, symbolizing limitless possibility. Tears glistened in her eyes as the crowd cheered. Atlas sat resolute beside her, tail wagging. Dr. Patel embraced Sophie. "You've changed the world," she whispered. Sophie thought of her fragile bones, the days she longed for friendship, and smiled. "Atlas changed my world," she said softly. "Time's passage is inexorable." Atlas's arthritis worsened. Sophie's sessions with him became shorter, more precious. One crisp autumn day, Sophie wheeled Atlas to the park bench where they'd shared so many hopes. Atlas curled against her side, eyes half closed, breathing shallow. Sophie whispered, "You taught me to be brave." Her hand trembled over his. "Fur." Atlas pressed his head into her palm, tail giving one final gentle thump. As the sun set in ribbons of rose and gold, Atlas exhaled softly, and his spirit rested. Sophie wept, cradling his head, her heart both broken and full. "Thank you, my friend," she whispered into the quiet dusk. News of Atlas's peaceful passing rippled through the foundation and Willowbrook. Children and volunteers left notes and drawings at the mural, a testament to a dog who embodied hope. Sophie sat before the mural, tears now softened into gratitude. Ms. Langston placed a gentle hand on Sophie's shoulder. "His spirit lives on in every life you've touched." Sophie nodded, lifting her chin. "We'll carry on." In the weeks that followed, the Foundation placed a bronze statue of Sophie and Atlas at the care center's entrance. Sophie's wheelchair nestled beside Atlas's attentive posture. A plaque bore their credo: "Kindness heals, courage unites." Years later, Sophie, now a young adult, oversaw Hope's Paws with a team of dedicated staff. Children thrived. Rescue dogs blossomed. The courtyard rang with happy barks and joyous laughter. Each morning, Sophie paused by the statue of herself and Atlas, tracing the outline of their forms in bronze. A new blanket lay folded at the statue's base, a symbolic tribute to the one blanket that started it all. Sophie smiled through tears. She raised her voice to the rising sun. "May every child find warmth, every dog find home, and may compassion pave the way for a kinder world." And in that moment, Sophie felt Atlas's spirit beside her, ever faithful, ever guiding, a reminder that one small act of kindness can spark a lifetime of hope. In Sophie and Atlas's story, we learn that true courage emerges when we reach out to help those even more vulnerable than ourselves. The unbreakable bond between a heart and a paw can heal wounds unseen and light paths once lost. May we all carry a blanket of hope in our hands, offering warmth, kindness, and second chances to every friend in need.